Hello world, do you hear that? The birds are chirping, spring is here, the days are getting longer, and that means summer is coming, and it is time for you to get ready and restock your sunscreen stash. So today we're going to take a look at some hows and whys and whats of sunscreen. What is it? Why should you wear it? Why should you wear it religiously? How do you choose a sunscreen? What are the best ways to apply it to get the maximum benefit from the sunscreens that you've chosen? And what are some of my favorites? Sunscreen is one of the best anti-aging products out there. The effects of the sun's radiation on our skin, the process is called photoaging. And photoaging includes all of those things that we are trying so hard by the time we reach the age of 40-something to cover up and conceal and blur the fine lines, the wrinkles, the sunspots, the dark freckle patches, renegade freckles in the shape of Australia. Photoaging is not a natural process. It is completely avoidable. How do you avoid it? Well, stay out of the sun or be religious about your use of sunscreen. Now you may be thinking, I had so many sunburns as a child, we just didn't pay attention to these things, or you wore sunscreen religiously as a child, but if you grew up in the 70s or the 80s, even the early 90s, sunscreens didn't take care of the sun's rays that cause photoaging. They took care of the sun's rays that cause cancer, but not necessarily the photoaging part of the equation. So you may think it's too late. It is not too late. It is not at all too late. According to skincancer.org, the Skin Cancer Foundation, by the time we reach the age of 18, we have only had approximately 25% of all of the sun exposure that we will have over the course of our lives. So 75% of the sun exposure that you are going to have is going to occur beyond the age of 18. It has also been shown that the people that are getting the most sun on a daily basis, the majority of your sun exposure in men around the age of 40, it is probably not a far off guess to say that women are not close behind. So it is not too late for us to care about these things. We need to care about them. We need to care about them now. If we want to slow the process of aging our skin, particularly due to photoaging, we need to wear sunscreen every single day. It's not too late. Do it. So let's look a little bit into the specifics of what sunscreen is. So let's take the sun. There are two kinds of radiation that come from the sun that we are attempting to block with sunscreen. UVB radiation is the primary cause of most skin cancers and sunburns. Now, sunscreens have been blocking UVB radiation for a very long time. It's what we were primarily addressing through the 70s, the 80s, into the 90s. But it wasn't until the 90s that we started addressing the other kind of radiation that affects our skin, and that's the UVA rays. The UVA rays are the ones that are most responsible for photoaging. They affect the deeper layers of your skin. They cause your skin to lose elasticity, which is what happens when you don't get as much firmness or bounce back and you start to have sagging skin. It causes sunspots. It causes wrinkles and fine lines. It damages the texture of your skin. So what we're going to look at today are specifically the UVA rays, the ones that are causing the photoaging that is aging our skin and damaging our skins. Luckily for us today, we've got lots of what they call broad spectrum sunscreens, and those are sunscreens that address both the UVB cancer causing rays and the UVA photoaging causing rays. So what is the issue with photoaging? The damage that's done by the UVA rays to our skin specifically happens to the deeper layers of our skin. It affects the elastic fibers in our skin and the collagen. Now, what is collagen? We see it everywhere. We now see it on all kinds of anti-aging products, things like that. Be aware that when you see collagen as an ingredient on a lot of anti-aging products. Most collagen molecules are too big to be absorbed through the skin, but collagen makes an excellent moisturizer. So you can't necessarily rebuild the collagen in your skin by applying collagen to the surface of your skin, but it is still a good ingredient to look for. Collagen is the most abundant protein in the human body. We find it all over the place. It's in our bones, it's in our muscles, it's in our skin, it's in our tendons, and the fibers that hold our bodies together. The word collagen itself is actually derived from the Greek word kala, which means literally glue. So collagen is holding us together. So when we damage the collagen, especially in our skin, we are damaging the texture and its ability to stay firm and elastic and smooth. So UVA rays damage the collagen in our skin, and it can result in some dramatic photoaging effects, wrinkles, fine lines, sagging skin, etc. So assuming that we don't want those things happening, how do you choose a sunscreen that will prevent both the UVB cancer-causing rays and the UVA photoaging rays from getting to your skin? First thing to note, no sunscreen will prevent all of the rays from getting to your skin. It does not matter how high the SPF is, none will prevent it all. Know that right now. So with that, moving forward, first off, we do want a broad spectrum sunscreen, UVA and UVB protecting sunscreen. What SPF should you get? So what is SPF? It stands for sun protection factor. And the SPF actually only relates to the UVB protection, so the cancer-causing ray protection. Generally, an SPF between 30 and 50 will be good for people that are fair like me or highly sensitive to the sun. But honestly, SPF 15 and higher is a pretty good bet. So an SPF 15 sunscreen blocks about 93% of the UVB rays from reaching your skin. Compare that to an SPF 30, which is going to block approximately 97% of the UVB rays from reaching your skin, and an SPF 50 that's going to block 98% of the rays. Now that may seem like a really small difference between 97%, 98%, but if you have highly sensitive skin or you're incredibly fair, those percentages become very important. So why shouldn't we go above a 50? Why don't we hit these SPF 70s and these SPF 100s that we're seeing out there? There are some reasons not to. So typically when you get the extremely high SPF, so anything above an SPF 50, typically they are going to have a poorer balance of ingredients. So the protection you're getting, UVB versus UVA, if you've got a super high SPF sunscreen, remember that's only dealing with the UVB, the cancer-causing rays. Now, when you unbalance those ingredients and you don't have as many ingredients to block the UVA rays, you're going to get more photoaging effects. And if you're trying to prevent signs of aging from photoaging, then you probably don't want to be off balance like that. Also, when you get to these higher concentrations of the active sun-blocking chemicals, some of them can have health issues. They can cause allergic reactions. They can just cause sensitivity, irritation in people that are highly sensitive to some of these chemical ingredients, all the way through things like effects on hormone balance. So the studies that have been done have not shown a significant benefit to the SPFs higher than 50. And when you compare that to the potential health effects, the negative potential health effects, it's just not justified. There's just no reason to go beyond an SPF 50. They haven't been proven to be better at reducing skin damage or cancer risk, so it's just not worth it. So stick with something 50 and below if possible. So you also want to be mindful of the ingredient list when you're shopping for sunscreen. There are some harmful ingredients out there that would probably be best avoided. Oxybenzone is one that you don't want to see on your ingredient list. Another is versions of vitamin A. You'll often see this as retinol palmitate. Now, the reason we don't want to see vitamin A related ingredients on our sunscreens is that when exposed to sunlight, retinol palmitate may speed the development of tumors and cancerous lesions. They can form free radicals that damage DNA, which can wreak havoc on the body. So avoid them. A couple tips on wearing sunscreen. So I used to think that if I went out wearing a t-shirt that I really only needed to put sunscreen on in my exposed parts of my arms, my face, my neck, because I'm wearing a t-shirt, the sun's not hitting it, right? A t-shirt, a cotton t-shirt, is the equivalent of wearing SPF 5. So the skin beneath your t-shirt is really only being protected by SPF 5, which is next to nothing. So you definitely want to apply your sunscreen all over, even under your clothing, when you plan to spend a good amount of time outdoors. You also want to apply your sunscreen 30 minutes before going out into the sun. That gives your skin time to absorb the sunscreen and for the sun-blocking chemicals to bind with your skin. You want to reapply your sunscreen every 2 hours when you're out in the sun, and immediately after swimming or toweling off, wiping off even your hands, or sweating profusely, athletic activities, that kind of thing. Also, be sure you apply enough sunscreen. Studies have shown that most people apply only a fifth to a half of the recommended amount of sunscreen that the maker ideally believes you should be wearing. For example, if you've got an SPF 30 sunscreen and you only apply 25% of the recommended ideal amount of sunscreen, you actually are only going to be covering yourself with an SPF equivalent of 3. Not so good. So be sure that you apply the recommended amount of sunscreen. Just be liberal about it. Slather it on. Put it all over. Get it on. Let's get it on. So some of the sunscreens that I have and use and have used. First up, I used this one for years. This is the Aveeno Positively Radiant Daily Moisturizer with Broad Spectrum SPF 15 sunscreen. And I loved this stuff dearly. I fell in love with it after I saw Jennifer Aniston on a commercial saying how great it was. It also states clinically proven to even tone and texture. And so I've always been looking to reduce my renegade freckles and all that good stuff. They're about to come out. It's going to be summertime very soon. The only downside of this is the ingredient list. They use parabens for their preservative. So if you are trying to avoid parabens, this is not going to work out. But I used it for years and years and years and loved it. I was sad to find that it has parabens in there. The sunscreen that I use as my sort of everyday run out the door sunscreen, this is the Super Loop sunscreen, Play Everyday Sunscreen Broad Spectrum SPF 30. It's in a giant pump. I like this. I keep it right next to my bathroom door. So as I run and gun, don't have time to deal with it, I can slather that stuff all over my body very, very quickly and get out the door. I don't use this on my face, but I use it every place else. My neck, my chest, my arms, etc. Really convenient in this pump. I really do like having this. The only downside of this is that it kind of smells like sunscreen. I prefer a fragrance-free sunscreen, but this stuff is really lightweight. It feels really nice. It absorbs really quickly so that you don't feel greasy. You literally can run and gun it and get out the door. But you're going to smell a little bit like sunscreen for a little bit. The latest addition to my sunscreen collection is in the pricey department. It is the exuberance. Well, that's a very nice word. Exuviance sunscreen. This is the Sheer Daily Protector Broad Spectrum SPF 50 Triple Anti-Aging Protection Sunscreen. I like this. It's slightly tinted. sort of a beige color, so it works really well on the face. It's not enough to use it as like a CC cream. It's not that much tint to it, but it does help even things out just the tiniest bit. It is super lightweight, super fast drying, super absorbent. It just feels really nice, and they recommend that you use it in the last step of your skincare routine before you apply makeup, if you are going to apply makeup. It does wear under makeup really well. I mean, I can't tell a difference in my makeup application or my foundation performance with this stuff. So in the morning I do my face wash, my toner, my moisturizer, then my sunscreen, and then I do my makeup, which may be primer, foundation, etc. But this stuff, love it. It's got a little bit of a high price tag on it, but I think it is so worth it. I dig it. On my neck and my arms and sort of my upper body, I use Neutrogena's Healthy Defense. This is their daily moisturizer with sunscreen for sensitive skin. So look for the pure screen on the label. This is a really nice everyday, it's SPF 50 sunscreen. No questionable ingredients. I really like it. It smells fresh, clean, doesn't really smell sunscreeny. Is that a word? It's good stuff. It's good for sensitive skin, which I have. I like it. Good stuff. So to recap, my daily use on the face, on the neck, on the rest of my body. So there you have it, my take on sunscreens, why you should wear them, what you should look for, and some of my favorites. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not already. And if you have any questions or you have a favorite sunscreen you'd like to share, leave it down in the comments. Thanks a lot. Take care of each other. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Get that sunscreen on your bod. Get that sunscreen on your bod. Get that sunscreen on your bod. So there you have it.